today's lesson is Chapter 7.1, titled Percent of a Number. And the main idea is to find the percent of a number. A key word in today's vocabulary, it's a word everyone knows is of, is going to mean multiplication. So whenever you see of, we know we need to multiply. For example 1, we're still finding the percent of a number, so find 16% of 150. So there's two ways to do this, and we're going to start with method 1, is we're going to use our skills of turning a fraction into a decimal. So we're first going to write out 16% of is multiplication 150. Now we need to use turning a percent into a decimal. We're going to a decimal is left two places. Remember, so now we have 0.16 times 150, and we plug that into our calculator to get 0.16 times 150 equals 24. So that was my steps to find 16% of 150 is 24. Example 2. Now we're using percents greater than 100. So we're finding 120% of 40. So again, writing it out, 120% of 40. And of, we know, is multiplication, so we'll switch a multiplication sign in there. Now we're going to again write this as a decimal. We can move our decimal place 2 to the left to get 1.2 times 40. In this problem, we could have also done it one other way. So 120% can also be turned into a fraction. Remember, when we think of percent, it's a number over 100. Now times 40. And we can also solve that way. But first we're going to solve using decimal. So we have 1.2 times 40 gives us 48. So this will give us 48. And now we'll double check by using this fraction method. So 120% turned to 120 over 100 times 40. Well, I see that 20 goes into both 100 and 40. 20 goes into 105 times and to 42 times. So now I cut my work out for me, but now I have 120 over 5, and that's actually can cancel out. So canceling out here, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 120 divided by 5 will give me 24. 24 times 2, 1 times, this had a 1 on the bottom, will give us 48, which is equal to 48. So we've double checked our answer going both ways. Obviously, when we go back to example 1, it was a little bit harder to use a fraction here because 16 over 100 doesn't necessarily have some easy cancellation properties. So for example 3, now we're finding 0.75% of 325. So we're going to write this out first, 0.75%, and again we'll translate of right away into multiplication, 325. Now this is a less than 1%, so the decimal point still moves 2 spaces to the left. In any blank we have, we put a 0 in. So 0.75% is actually 0.0075, or 75 ten-thousandths, times 325. And again, we'll do this on the calculator. We got 325 times 0.0075. I get 2.4375. Since our question does not tell us to round, we'll just write out as 2.4375. Typically, our question tells us to round to the nearest hundredth, which would have been this 3-digit here, and then we would have looked at the 7. But since ours didn't do that, we'll go on to the next slide. Technology. A recent survey found that 70% of households have at least one flat-screen television. So, keywords right here, we see 70%. of households. How many houses have a flat screen television if there are 420 houses? So, I've been given 70% of households, and right here they gave me our households, so times 420, and now I'm left with an option. I'm going to choose to use multiplying by fractions because it's easier in this case. 70% will turn into 70 over 100, and again we still have times 420. So even my 70 over 100 can actually cancel out and become 7/10. So we'll do that. By dividing by 10 we get rid of a zeros. Now we have 10 on bottom, 420 on top. Dividing by 10 we're going to get 1. This will give us 42. So now I have 42 times 7. And we'll do that on our calculator to get 294. And so our answer is 294 houses. Don't forget your label. All word problems should have a label. So 294 houses. Our last example here is example 5. Awake. The average person is awake for 67% of their adult life. If their adult life consists of 73 years, how many years does an average person spend awake? So 67% of their adult life, and this is telling us their adult life is 73 years. So now I have 67% times 73. Remembering that my label here is years. How many years does the average person spend awake? So 67% times 20 times 73, we're going to have to change this percent sign into a decimal, moving our decimal 2 spaces to the left. So 67% turns into 0.67 times 73. And again, we're going to use our calculator. 0.67 times 73 gives us 48.91. Again, the question doesn't tell us to round to the nearest whole. So we have 48.91 years, and we are done. If you feel like you need any extra help, there are personal tutors available. The personal tutors will be videos that you can go through extra examples that are in the book.